The moment you stop reacting, you become dangerous. The moment you stop explaining, you become powerful. And the moment you master silence, people begin to feel your presence before you ever speak. Most people don't lose power in one big moment. They lose it slowly, through small reactions, small explanations, small emotional leaks. Every time someone disrespects you, and you react. Every time someone doubts you, and you explain. Every time someone drains you, and you tolerate it. You tell yourself it doesn't matter, but it does. Because power is not lost in dramatic failures. It's lost in daily emotional habits. And this is how most people slowly become weak, without ever realizing it. Right now, millions of people are living on autopilot. They react before they think. They explain before they decide. They engage before they evaluate. They believe this makes them strong. But in reality, they are surrendering control. True power doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg to be understood. True power is calm, selective, intentional. Look at people who naturally command respect. They don't respond to everything. They don't argue for validation. They don't allow everyone access to their emotions. Their silence feels heavy. Their presence feels rare. And that is not personality. That is discipline. That is awareness. That is control. Because the moment you become selective with your attention, you stop being common. You become dangerous. And most people never realize this until it's too late. Now understand this. The moment you react emotionally, you give away control. Because reaction means something outside you is commanding your internal state. And anything that controls your emotions controls you. This is why silence is so dangerous. Imagine someone sends you a disrespectful message. Your instinct says, defend yourself. Explain. Prove your worth. But the moment you respond, you have already lost. You validated their importance. You entered their mental world. You handed them your energy. Now imagine doing nothing. No reply. No reaction. No explanation. Just silence. What happens next? They wait. They overthink. They begin to question. Did I go too far? Did I lose control? Why aren't they responding? And while their mind spirals, you remain calm, untouched, unbothered. That is dominance. Because silence forces others to fill the psychological gaps. Silence creates tension. Silence creates uncertainty. Silence creates pressure, and pressure shifts power. When people realize they cannot provoke you, cannot manipulate you, cannot emotionally drain you, they either respect you or disappear. Both outcomes serve you. This is why calm individuals feel intimidating. Not because they are aggressive, but because they are unshakable. They do not rush. They do not panic. They do not react impulsively. Their stillness creates authority. Their composure creates psychological weight. Their silence creates dominance. And this is the shift. The less you react, the more powerful you become. The less you explain, the more respected you are. The less emotional access people have to you, the more control you hold. This is where strength begins. Not in loud confidence, not in aggressive words, but in absolute emotional control. Most people believe power comes from expression, from speaking their mind, from defending their position, from reacting quickly and forcefully. But in reality, this constant urge to respond is not strength. It is emotional insecurity. When you feel the need to explain yourself, justify your actions, or react emotionally, it means something outside of you is controlling your internal state. And anything that controls your emotions controls you. True power begins the moment you regain emotional authority. Emotional discipline is the ability to experience emotion without being ruled by it. You still feel anger. You still feel frustration. You still feel disappointment. But you no longer let these emotions dictate your actions. Most people live in a constant cycle of emotional chaos. Something happens, they explode. Someone speaks, they lash out. Something goes wrong, they collapse mentally. This instability drains their energy, weakens their presence, and destroys their credibility. Over time, people stop taking them seriously. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack control. The disciplined individual operates differently. They pause. They observe. They choose. Instead of reacting, they respond. Instead of exploding, they calculate. Instead of chasing emotion, they maintain composure. This moment of pause is where power is born. Because when people cannot predict your emotional reactions, they lose psychological leverage. They no longer know how to provoke you. They no longer know how to manipulate you. They no longer know how to influence your state. And uncertainty shifts the balance of power. This is why calm individuals appear intimidating. Their emotional stability creates tension. Their stillness creates pressure. Their silence creates authority, not through aggression, but through presence. Now imagine someone deliberately trying to provoke you. They insult you. You remain calm. They push harder. You stay composed. They escalate. You remain silent. Eventually they feel foolish, exposed, powerless. Not because you attacked them, but because you denied them emotional control. This is emotional dominance, and emotional dominance changes everything. When your emotions are steady, your mind becomes clear. When your mind becomes clear, your decisions become precise. When your decisions become precise, your life begins to transform. You stop acting impulsively. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing approval. Instead, you move with intention. You speak with purpose. You carry yourself with grounded confidence. And people feel that. They sense your stability. They respect your presence. They respond differently to your energy. Not because you demand respect, but because your emotional control commands it. This is the foundation of unshakable power. If you avoid pain, you avoid power. And if you chase comfort, you slowly erase your potential. Every strong individual, without exception, has walked willingly into discomfort. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand its purpose. Discomfort is the forge. Pressure is the fire. Resistance is the teacher. Without resistance, the mind softens. Without struggle, discipline fades. Without discomfort, growth dies. Modern life is designed to eliminate effort. Instant entertainment, constant stimulation, endless comfort. And slowly, this convenience weakens mental endurance. You become impatient. You become easily bored. You become emotionally fragile. You lose the ability to endure. But discipline restores what comfort destroys. Discipline is choosing what is hard now, so life can be easy later. It is waking up when your body begs for sleep. It is training when motivation disappears. It is staying silent when ego demands expression. It is continuing when quitting feels comfortable. Each act of discipline builds mental armor, and over time that armor reshapes your identity. You begin to trust yourself. You develop internal respect. You cultivate quiet confidence, not because someone praises you, but because you know the battles you've survived in silence. Voluntary discomfort sharpens the nervous system. It trains your mind to remain calm under pressure. It conditions your emotions to stay steady in chaos. Cold exposure, intense training, fasting, early mornings, focused solitude. These are not punishments. They are tools. Tools that harden your mind. Tools that sharpen your will. Tools that forge resilience. And as this discipline compounds, something profound happens. You stop seeking comfort. You stop fearing effort. You stop avoiding resistance. You begin to crave challenge, because challenge becomes proof. Proof of strength. Proof of growth. Proof of transformation. And one day, you realize something has changed. Not in your circumstances, not in your environment, but in you. Your posture is stronger. Your presence is heavier. Your mind is calmer. You no longer move like someone searching for power. You move like someone who has it. And that is the moment discipline stops being an action and becomes who you are. If you are constantly tired, unfocused, and mentally drained, it is not because you are weak. It is because your energy is leaking into the wrong places. Every argument you entertain, every emotional reaction you feed, every distraction you tolerate, every toxic conversation you accept, all of it drains your mental power. Your energy is your most valuable currency, not money, not status, not attention, energy. And most people spend it carelessly. Strong individuals do the opposite. They guard their energy like warriors guard their territory. They are selective with their time. They are intentional with their attention. They are ruthless with their boundaries. Because they understand something most people never learn. Your environment shapes your identity. If you surround yourself with chaos, your mind becomes chaotic. If you surround yourself with discipline, your mind becomes disciplined. If you surround yourself with weakness, your potential collapses. That is why powerful individuals choose solitude. Not because they hate people, but because they respect their mental space. Silence builds clarity. Distance builds strength. Stillness builds presence. And in that stillness, something extraordinary happens. Your mind becomes calm. Your focus sharpens. Your emotions stabilize. You stop chasing validation. You stop seeking approval. You stop needing attention. Because your strength is now internal. And people feel that. They sense your grounded presence. They respect your emotional control. They respond differently to your energy. Not because you demand respect, but because your being commands it. This is what it means to become unshakable. Not loud, not aggressive, not dominant, but rooted, calm in chaos, still under pressure, steady in uncertainty. When you master your energy, the world loses its power over you. You stop reacting. You start directing. You stop surviving. You start building. You stop drifting. You start becoming. And this is the final truth. The strongest people on earth are not those who control others. They are those who have mastered themselves. Because when your mind is disciplined, your emotions are steady, and your energy is protected. Nothing can disturb your peace. Nothing can shake your presence. Nothing can stand in your way. And in that moment, you do not chase power. You become it.